Welcome to the Marvels, Mysteries and Midlanders podcast. Prepare to take a dive into all things mythical, eerie and downright strange. Stick around. You might just enjoy yourself.
I just like the art. I just like the art, yeah.
I just like the art, yeah. Yeah, that's good. Oh, have you ever heard of, I was reading about it earlier. It's called Call of the Void. Have you ever heard of that?
Yeah, I've heard of Call of the Void.
Would you like to explain to our listeners what Call of the Void is? Also, hello, welcome to Marvels, Mysteries and Midlanders. I'm James, and Adam is going to explain something to do with the Void. And also Lewis is here, slowly getting better from COVID-19. And he's got, I've mentioned it before, but his facial hair is just looking tip-top shape.
Delightful.
He looks like he's looking a lot more Spanish. He's got some Spanish look to him now.
A like a Benidorm look, by any chance.
Yeah. Picked up a few fashion tips while you were there.
Well, yeah.
You know, oh, I like that mustache. I'll be taking that, and a healthy dose of a virus. Yeah, all good, all good. But how you both doing? You okay?
Yes, very well, very well.
Good.
A little bit under the weather, but you know.
As usual. Have you recovered from your phone mishap?
Oh, what a fuck nut that was.
Quick story. Skip to the end. Adam lost his phone on the night out, and then he basically...
Well, I lost it within the first 10 minutes of leaving my flat, which was the most embarrassing thing.
What?
And
how drunk were you?
I wasn't even... I can't remember. But that's irrelevant. I then woke up the next morning and walked along the beachfront just to see if, on the off chance, I might find it. Alas, I did not. And then I had to go to town, speak to a lovely woman who then sorted me out with a cheap-ish contract. So now I have 2 contracts for 1 phone.
Oh my God.
That's how they fuck you.
That's not good, man. That's not good.
No.
That's some Call of the Void stuff right there.
That is some Call of the Void
would you, sorry, but yeah, I kind of interrupted you with that. Would you like to tell us what Call of the Void is?
Well, from what I briefly know, it is, say you're on a very high ledge and you have the desire to step out. Like, it's almost like you're not going to jump, but something is calling you to jump, basically, and step off. And that is essentially what the Call of the Void is.
Also, just when you're driving down a motorway, you could go...
Yeah,
I'll just slam my car into this car next to me. I could just slam my
fucking car into the side, or jump off a bridge, or
I do it every day. The call is getting stronger and stronger.
It's like some H.P. Lovecraft stuff. That.
Yeah, man. Yeah, the great ones are calling. You ever get any Call of the Void feelings, Lewis? Or are you just so damn sure with your?
Look at him. There's no calling there. He is just.
There's no void. No void in Lewis Carter.
I do. Is it like when you're looking off the edge of a cliff, that kind of thing, and you think, oh.
I'm guessing you didn't listen to what Adam just said.
Well, I did a bit.
I could jump now. No one can stop me.
No one would stop me. No one. What a sweet ending to all suffering this would be.
I was actually having this conversation with someone last night. Saying that, to forgive me for getting too deep straight away, but we were saying that if you found someone that was on the edge of a bridge, the kind of generic thing would be to stop them, and you'd be like, no, don't do it. And they'll say,
I know where this is going.
Oh, well, but it is essentially the similar to the Call of the Void, and it breaches the question why should you stop? Why should you stop someone? Not in just fucking do it, mate. Go on, fucking do it. But it's
I bet you couldn't jump fast enough, mate.
I bet you can't jump faster than me.
Yeah, if the Call of the Void was really strong, you just dive after him.
Imagine that being a flex, though. My Call of the Void's stronger than yours. Watch. Wait!
And that's it.
And there you
Game
go.
over, yeah. I guess the reason why you tell the person to stop, Adam, is to preserve, self-preservation, and that you don't want to see somebody die in front of you.
But what if I can't get too much into it.
Okay,
but
you're scared. Okay.
it is essentially when you try to save someone, you project your own will to live onto them. Because if someone kills themselves, essentially, then it makes you question why you're alive in the first place, because someone doesn't want to live. And if they live kind of similarly to you, then it questions your own will to live and like why you're here. So that's why you have like copycat suicides and things like that, or like
but it's a whole thing to be discussed, isn't it? Because you're saying a similar life, but you've got mental states.
Yeah.
Oh, it's so much. But I see what you mean. It is an interesting form
6 minutes in and we've already got to this point.
Oh, I need to put jingle in, mate. I'm tired already. Oh. But anyway, yes, so we are continuing our dive into the spooky season. You know, this Halloween, we've treated you to some audio stories. We've treated you to some listener stories, sexy ghosts, and molester ghosts. It's all very, very... very, very entertaining. And today we are diving into an American legend, or should I say a North American legend, or in that area, and Canada as well. Yeah, butchered that, but yeah, we'll get into it. But before I say what it is, I'll just kind of jump straight into the story and see if you guys can figure it out. How's that sound?
That sounds fabulous.
It's cold, probably the coldest you've ever been. You are lost in a wood that sprawls and stretches for miles and miles, and it's been days, maybe weeks, since you last ate. Your mind thinks of what it would do just to eat and make the pain go away. You find yourself cursing the world, yourself, and then suddenly you feel a change. Something found you, and now you know exactly what you must do. Ladies and gentlemen, in honor of the release of the film Antlers, we're looking into one of the scariest folktales in American history. We're looking at the Wendigo.
That was a very chilling opener, James.
Thank you. I wrote that.
You wrote that?
I'm proud of that. I wrote that, yeah.
Oh, I was literally looking into space, just trying to get into the zone as well.
Yeah, it was.
Okay.
There's plenty. Just imagining what it's like to be hungry all the time. Wait until that student loan starts crooning, mate. You'll know exactly what it's like. I'm eating frozen peas.
It's going to be me.
May I add? No, it won't be.
It's going to be me in like 2 months, I swear.
No. I spoke to people who were like, you know,
please, just give me some rice.
Just one grain, please.
Grain.
Yeah. And Lewis used to come to university and brag about his roast dinners he had. And all those poor, skinny students going, oh, can we come round, Mr. Carter, for something to eat? Oh.
Please, Lewis, can I have some more?
And he'd be like, no. Anyway, so yes. So we're looking at the Wendigo today. But we'll start, because the Wendigo is this massive, it's not just one singular story. It's a whole massive mythology. And instead of covering every little bit of it, which would be the professional thing to do, I've decided to pick kind of separate bits from it to kind of just explore it in a whole. So we're going to be looking at true tales of the Wendigo, what a Wendigo is, its impact on pop culture and stuff like that. So it's going to be quite a ride for you gents. But if you're up for the journey, I am.
I am with you, James.
You with me? Good.
Mm-hmm. Yes, I'm with you.
Good. Yes, you sound positively with me, bro.
Do I need to know what Wendigo?
Oh no, I'll be teaching you everything about what a Wendigo is. But before I tell you what a Wendigo is, I'm actually going to tell you a real life story about what a real life Wendigo, one of the only real proper recorded tales of a Wendigo, and it's the tale of Swift Runner. Now, Swift Runner. On the 20th of December 1879, people gathered in Fort Saskatchewan for the first official hanging that took place in Alberta, Western Canada. The criminal's name was Swift Runner, a Cree Native American. Swift was proven guilty for the terrible crimes he committed, and there was no doubt he did them. But he pointed the blame to something else being in control of him. He said it was a dark and evil spirit called the Wendigo. So, Runner was born in Alberta in the early 1800s. His birth name was Kaki Sikuchin, and as Swift grew up, he was given a proper education. Along with this, he was popular amongst the Cree community, and soon enough settled down with his wife and had 6 children. 6 children, that's a...
6 little runners.
6 little Swift runners, yeah.
What did he call them?
I don't know.
Fast, slow...
Fast, too fast, way too fast... Slightly fast,
Runner. Nike. One of them's got to be called Nike.
Nike and Reebok.
Reebok Runner.
Reebok Runner. Yeah, that's a hell of a dynasty there.
That is a dynasty.
So around 6 foot 3 inches tall, Swift loomed over the majority of his community.
He's a big boy.
He was tall. There's pictures of him, and he just towers over people. Big boy.
Big boy.
Now, he chose a career as a guide and tracker. He provided assistance and traded furs with various travellers and companies. He even provided safe passage for the Canadian Northwest Mounted Police as they traversed the mountainous regions. These guys were also known as Mounties. Now, you guys know Mounties. You know what the Canadian police look like, don't you? On the horses with their hats.
And
they
the
have red suits,
Yeah. So from now on, I'm going to be referring to those guys as Mounties. So when I say that, it's the cops. It's the mountain cops, okay?
Das Mounties.
Oh no, here come Das Mounties. I don't want to do something, even though this episode is not even set in Germany. There seems to be
it's a fun accent.
Yeah, it is. It's a quality accent.
They have French-speaking people in Canada. Then?
Oh yeah, French Canadian. Yeah, there actually is a French Canadian character. I say character, actual person coming up in this story. He was a character, mate. Yeah. To be fair, he was a bit of a character as well. But yeah, like many human beings, Runner became partial to a bit of the booze, particularly whiskey, Adam, and in time was in the throes of full-on alcoholism. It's said he fell into it due to him allegedly losing the ability to hunt and track, thus not being able to provide for his family. I'm not sure how you lose the ability to hunt and track, but okay. I mean, maybe it's a health issue, but
yeah. Maybe he had just other things on his mind. It happens sometimes.
It's not that I can hunt and track. It's just I don't want to.
It's just I forgot.
Okay, I just chose to forget. It's not important. As it turns out, though, Swift Runner was also a bit of an angry drunk, getting him into various fights, and in time, his outbursts tarnished his once perfect reputation. Not finding the will to try and change his ways, he eventually found himself fired from his police guide role, and soon enough, he was excommunicado by his tribe. Now, I know excommunication isn't the correct term, but I just wanted to find a way to put the term excommunicado into the script, so there we are. So yeah, so Swift Runner, nice guy, alcoholic,
nice guy, kicked out, angry drunk,
lost his job and got kicked out the tribe.
All because of a bit of whiskey.
The tribe and his job.
Yeah, he lost his job and his people, essentially.
He's not having a good time then, is he?
He's not having a good time, Lewis. No.
The demon drink, mate, all the way. So Runner, instead of staying on the site where he lived and just dealing with the fact he'd become a bit of an asshole, he decided to move his family, his wife, 6 children, his mother-in-law, and his brother to a nearby woods during the winter of 1878. Several months passed, as did the brutal winter, and on one bright and sunny spring morning, Swift Runner staggered out of the woods, looking weary as hell, into a Catholic missionary camp. It's like the start of a horror film, isn't it? Where people are like, oh, this place is lovely, let's hang out here. And then some person comes out the woods like, oh, and everyone's like, oh, here we go. Here come the problems. Here comes trouble, you know.
Couldn't just have a nice missionary, could we?
Is that where it comes from?
Oh.
Are you... He got it. The missionaries came to his aid, questioning him, but he was seemingly in a state of shock. They finally got out of him that his entire family was dead, having starved to death during the winter due to short supplies and his inability to do anything.
Wait, Swift's dead?
No, Swift's entire family's dead, but Swift was the guy to come out of the woods.
Oh, okay.
So all his kids, his mother-in-law, his wife, and his brother, all dead.
Little Nike's dead.
Little Nike's dead. Little Reebok's dead. Fast, way too fast, and too fast.
How come he survived?
All gone. Well, okay. Why do you think he survived?
Ate his kids. You eat babies.
You eat babies. You're very close, mate. Yeah. The fact he had returned without his family had somehow made its way back to his remaining in-laws, and soon enough, more people appeared at the camp demanding to know the truth. The missionaries allowed him to stay at their camp to try and let him slowly come out of his state of shock, but suspicions began to rise, and the rumour mill was churning. It didn't help that Runner would wake up every night screaming at the top of his lungs in terror either. So, you know, imagine how annoying that gets every night.
Yeah.
Shut the fuck up.
Lewis is opening the tent, just looking and saying that and just losing it.
Shut the fuck up. Can you imagine him getting like right next to his ear? Like literally just finished his little night terror. He's still got a bit of shivers in him. Lewis is just, shut the fuck up.
Another function to Lewis's sleep paralysis demon has just been unlocked. It's karate chops and vulgarities into the ear. Yeah. Okay. Other campers started to wonder why he, despite losing his entire family to starvation, looked kinda healthy.
Oh.
What saved him from starving? The priests actually knew other Cree natives who had a very successful winter in the hunter-gatherer department. The missionaries' hospitality was pushed to its limit when Swift attempted to lead a group of the campers' children deep into the woods for some reason. Yeah.
That's a little bit
sus.
For some eating.
I eat babies!
Can you imagine catching him just like with this onslaught of children? Yeah, Swift, what's going on here, mate?
I was just trying to... Just making snowman.
I just want to eat some babies.
Just want to eat some babies. So he tried to lead a massive group of children into the woods, and then the campers and his even more concerned in-laws decided it was time to tell the Mounties, who had then been in the West for just 5 years. Introducing Superintendent Sevier Gagnon. He was called in. Gagnon, mate.
He's not called Gagnon.
No, you can't.
It's just a bright screen.
Severgagnon. Sevier Gagnon. I think that's how it's pronounced.
Gagnon. Is it
Yeah.
Gagnon or something? Gagnon.
Gagnon, mate.
Was he French?
Yeah, I think he was French-Canadian, yeah.
Right.
So he was called in, and this guy was like, he was legit. He was the big gag daddy.
The big gag.
He's the gag daddy.
Big gag daddy? No. No.
He had this he had an absolutely incredible beard, amazing, brilliant beard. Again, look at the pictures of this guy.
Reflex at all. That's why he's called
Gagging on that beard. Yeah. A true rival. His beard was a true rival to Gandalf or Saruman's beard game. Gagnon, or I'm saying Gagnon now. Gagnon was given the task of investigating Swift Runner's behaviour and disappearance of his entire family. He and a small party of policemen accordingly trekked out to the missionaries' camp. Hello there, my name is Sevier Gagnon.
Gagnon.
I know.
Gagnon.
Yes, Gagnon.
Gagnon.
This was enough to fuel the assumptions that it was actually Swift Runner who killed his family amongst the entire populace of the Cree camp and the Fort Saskatchewan they lived at previously. I mean, even if you consider it a nasty accusation, he wasn't exactly helping himself at all, was he? Screaming and trying to lead children into the woods, you know, it's...
Being the Canadian Pied Piper of...
of Saskatchewan, Alberta. Runner was arrested on the spot, and based on various versions of the story, he either led them straight to his winter campsite, or he tried to deliberately mislead them until they got him drunk enough that he complied to show them. Oh, go on, man. Just give me some more booze. I'll show you. Come on.
I'll give you a shot if you tell us where your fucking cabin is.
Either way, soon enough, the lawmen found themselves at the camp, completely unprepared for what they were about to find. He explained that one of the boys had died and was buried at the campsite. Gagnon and his detachment opened the grave and found the bones undisturbed. So, you know, he wasn't lying about that. But just want to quickly go off here. How long does it take a body to decompose in the winter, though? Because wouldn't it, like, preserve and buried them? Lewis knows.
Oh, he's knows.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's definitely true.
Yeah, ages, mate.
Yeah, ages, mate.
It's about 72 to 96 hours. Yeah.
The campsite may have looked far tidier in the winter months, but with it being spring and the snow thawing, it revealed a completely trashed area. But the most horrifying thing the men found was the bones that were everywhere. Human bones. This discovery alone was grim enough, but they found that almost all of the bones had been snapped in half. The marrow inside was gone, sucked out.
That's like going back to seconds, that, isn't it?
I know, yeah. I couldn't... Is there any malwam in these bones? Yeah. I mean, I'm about to say I wonder what marrow tastes like, but I wouldn't want to try it at all. Personally, but yeah, that's just me.
Would you not give it a go?
No, I wouldn't give it a go. I remember once on a work do.
Here we go.
We went to this Brazilian restaurant and one of the managers was like, "Oh, let's get some offal in, mate." Ha ha ha. And I was like, "Oh," and they brought some chicken hearts out, and I was like, "Yeah, go on, then I'll try one." And it's only really tiny, really, really, really tiny. But it was so chewy, and I was like, I'm chewing through the veins. So yeah, it wasn't for me. So now I have the strength of a full-grown man and a chicken.
Yeah.
Yep, I'm chicken sold.
Bark,
Half
bark.
and half. Bark, bark. That explains my cowardice in nearly every single confrontational situation. At this point, I'd be yelling cannibal, but these guys were professionals, and their suspicions were confirmed when they found a cooking pot filled with human fat. Gagnon promptly found a skull with a moccasin, a form of shoe, stuffed inside of its mouth, which Swift Runner quickly told him it was that of his wife. Final insult, shove a shoe in her mouth. There we go. Great.
Specific with the shoe as well. Maybe his wife hated that moccasin. Every single time he wore it, she was like, "Eat it! You and those fucking moccasins, Swift. It'll be the death of you." And he's like, "Fuck you." And
Eat it! Without much more prodding, Swift Runner revealed what had happened to the rest of his family. Now, evidently, these details aren't particularly nice, so thanks for sticking with us. Are you guys comfortable? You okay? Not too disturbed?
I've got a runny nose.
Oh, okay. Just because you're crying. Do you want a second to blow your nose?
I was going to make a joke. I was going to say the irony of Swift Runner and me having a runny nose.
There's some irony there. There's not much, but there's some.
Lewis, can you explain the irony? Because it's lost on me.
My nose is a
his
Swift
nose
Runner.
Is running and
Oh, Jesus Christ. I am slow today. Right. So, Gagnon and his boys instantly began to interrogate this towering man, and he told them that it all began with terrible nightmares. In them, he was approached by the spirit of a Wendigo. The Wendigo repeatedly pressured and tempted him into consuming everyone around him. It was a series of nightmares that began to bleed into his reality, consuming him until the urge to feed was all that remained, and he became the Wendigo incarnate. A vessel for the dark spirit, as it were. His wife was the first person to be murdered and allegedly consumed raw before he moved on. I mean, eating any meat raw isn't nice.
No.
But eating a person raw?
So he killed her and then ate her? Or...
Yeah, it says that he murdered her first and then consumed her afterwards.
Right.
Why would your preference be eat them while they're still alive?
No.
That's very impractical, James.
Obviously not. He then made his eldest son murder and butcher his younger brother. Not wanting to stop the brutalization towards his family, he hung his infant child by the neck from a lodgepole and then proceeded to pull its dangling feet to break its neck or to suffocate it. Again, I did say some of these details are pretty grim.
Jesus.
So, yeah, probably no, but I figured,
It's a Sunday, James.
Full disclosure. Yeah, Sunday. This is the Sabbath. On the Sabbath, I like to make things very dark. Welcome! Soon enough, he did away with his brother as well, and his mother-in-law, and even acknowledged that his mother-in-law was a bit tough.
Like meat-wise, or...
What's the...
Yeah, I think so. No, just like, come on, let's go!
Oh, okay.
I don't know, I think it was more
time
meat-wise.
frame for all this?
I'm not sure, because it happened over, like, an entire winter, but if he, like, killed and ate his wife raw, at some point, it's going to be like, yeah, where are they?
Someone's going to notice that, you know, she's missing as well, surely.
Yeah.
What you
Maybe
eating?
went on like a big spree and then they were just, yeah, what's that? Nothing, mate. It's just some raspberry jam.
Don't ask questions, Nike.
Too fast. I truly hope you are too fast because your legs look so soft and tender.
Dangly.
Yeah. That was too far.
That was too far, sorry.
But yeah, so he admitted that his mother-in-law was a bit tough. And now you said that, I'm thinking that she was like just hard to kill.
Yeah.
Like an absolute like kung fu badass. But yeah, I think he was referring more to her meat. Not really needing any more evidence to be convinced of his guilt, the lawmen hauled Swift Runner's ass back to Fort Saskatchewan. His trial began on August 8th, 1879. The trial lasted roughly 4 months. The judge and the jury were not sold on the whole Wendigo idea, whereas the Cree tribe were quite convinced of it due to the nature of the Wendigo legend, which you will be hearing all about very soon. Magistrate Richardson seen Runner as a murderer and sentenced him as such, with Runner making no attempt to hide his guilt. Lewis, why do you keep looking out the window?
There's noises.
Oh, there's some rude boys on your lawn.
No.
Some
Mate, I heard you got COVID, man.
dickhead, you know, got COVID.
Yeah, if you come out here, man, you're good.
You're gonna spread an epidemic, mate.
Mate, you're gonna spread an epidemic, then I'll get you arrested.
Imagine.
Remember that though at the start of the lockdown when people were like deliberately trying to spread it and they were getting like arrested as attempted murder. Oh, that's what I was told anyway.
You reckon anyone's actually been arrested for sneezing on someone?
I don't know about that, yeah.
Yeah, well, they have, Adam. I've seen it. I've seen it on the internet, mate, and the internet is always correct. So,
It never lies.
yeah. As he was the first man to be hanged officially in Alberta, nobody was really sure how to go about doing it. So they erected a gallows in the enclosure at the fort, and an old army pensioner by the name of Rogers was given the role of hangman. Before Runner faced his death, he apparently converted to Catholicism before being led through a freezing early morning darkness to the scaffold. Though other reports from the day say he renounced all religion altogether, refusing a priest who had offered to be with him. His execution was delayed as part of the trapdoor had been stolen and burned for some firewood by some of the locals, resulting in a slight delay.
What bastards.
This is detailed, isn't it?
Listen, it's real. It is. I wanted to go, quite into it because this is technically the intro story, but I thought I'd give you some detail. I want you guys to feel like you're actually there.
I am.
So you're there by the scaffold, and you went, "Oh, I'm a bit cold actually. Just take the.
Should we steal this gallows trapdoor?
Should we take the trapdoor? Okay, yeah, good idea." Swift Runner sat by one of the near fires that had been lit, joking and chatting, snacking on pemmican, which is dried bison, deer, or moose meat, with a thick noose still hanging around his neck. He even offered to kill himself with a tomahawk to save everyone the trouble.
Fair play.
But obviously, that didn't happen. I don't know what would you rather see, a hanging or a guy kill himself with a tomahawk?
Do you know what? I'd take
In
it.
okay. In terms of
how he'd done it,
Yeah.
would it be like that?
into his head, slamming it straight. Maybe.
Maybe he throws it like a boomerang and it just comes back.
Or just takes his head straight. I was thinking of like maybe putting it in like a mound of snow and just jumping head first.
yeah. Or like puts on some kind of clamp and just headbutts it.
Yeah. Oh, Lewis's idea was just I'll do it myself, mate. Bah, 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 bah. So yeah. A large crowd of around 60 people had amassed to witness the murderer's execution, and he was given the chance to say his piece before he met his maker. Standing above the newly built trapdoor, he admitted that he was guilty of the heinous crimes he committed. He thanked his jailers for their kindness, and despite his actions, and then quickly berated his guard for making him wait in the cold. At 7:30 a.m. on the 20th of December, Swift Runner, born Kaki C. Kuchin, stood over the trapdoor and was dropped, hanging without struggle. His body was left to hang for an hour and then cut down and buried in the snow outside the camp. One witness who had watched various executions across the United States for some reason said it was the prettiest hanging they'd ever seen. So yeah,
Weird thing
that
to
was.
say.
I know, yeah. But think about it though, back then entertainment wasn't really as
Scarce. Yeah.
widespread, so executions were probably like, oh yeah, yeah. So yeah, so that is the intro story. That was this. Ooh yeah, yeah. That was the intro story of Swift Runner, and that's kind of a hint towards what a Wendigo would do. I'd say realistically, but that's kind of how the possession by a Wendigo takes place, because the Wendigo itself is a creature, but in that story it is more of a thing that takes over you, a dark spirit, which is technically what it is. But anyway, so how you guys feel about the Swift Runner story?
It was like what we talked about last time, where something in folklore kind of gets birthed into or like willed into existence from the idea itself, rather it actually being a thing to begin with.
Do you think
so? Like he
more...
had these dreams of like being like this bloodthirsty Wendigo, and then he became the Wendigo, and that's how originally it started. But obviously, it was from the idea, so
That's true. I can see that. Yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense.
Yeah.
I think he was eating dodgy mushrooms.
What, do you think he ate the mushrooms and attacked his family, or do you think he was just eating dodgy mushrooms the whole time?
So you're saying this whole story is one big trip?
What a bad trip! Adam, just before bed, as a bedtime snack, he got these nightmares.
He thought they were just regular baby buttons.
Yeah, and he was still a bit high when he woke up in the morning.
He was like, I want some bacon. Hey,
Human bacon.
Is that long pig? Mm. And then the rest is history.
It's not a podcast. It's a way of life.
Seriously, though, it's just a podcast. So, here we are. What is a Wendigo? So the Swift Runner story gives us an insight into the Wendigo as an unseen, malignant force that corrupts people in order to become the vessel for its insatiable appetite and acts of evil. The Wendigo is part of the traditional belief systems of various Algonquian-speaking tribes in the northern United States and Canada, most notably the Ojibwe, the Saulteaux, the Cree, Naskapi, and the Innu people. But the concept itself has been heard in the Great Plains and Great Lakes areas of the US as well. Though it is mainly known as the Wendigo, the more accurate pronunciation is Wendigo, so change the E for an I. Easily done.
Wendigo.
But there are actually many... Wendigo. But there are many, many more other terms for it, including Wendigo, 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 Widgigo, Ouijigo.
Did you say where did you go?
Where did you come from? Where did you come from? Wendigo? Where'd you go? Where'd you go? Where did you come from? Where did you go? Where did you come from? Wendigo. Yeah.
So is the Wendigo the same as the abominable snowman?
No, that's a whole.
Oh, okay.
Oh my god. The abominable snowman is more of a snow-based yeti, as far as I'm aware. A snow Sasquatch.
Oh, so a Wendigo isn't a yeti?
No. Quite the opposite.
Oh, okay.
Quite the opposite, and you're about to find. But yeah, after a large disappearance of the peoples in that area during the 20th century, the Wendigo became dubbed the spirit of lonely places, or the spirit that consumes mankind. All very, very appealing, really. But yeah, anyway, now we're going to deviate away from the spirit of the Wendigo and actually talk about the creature that we're more likely to have been exposed to in pop culture and generally folklore. So, are you guys ready? Any questions so far? You've been very, very attentive.
We have.
Very, very attentive.
There are 0 questions, apart from my ignorant, is a Wendigo, abominable snowman, etc. yetis.
No, you got to ask these questions, man. You got to ask these questions. So, a Wendigo tale usually begins with a person, sometimes a hunter, lost and alone in a massive area with no shelter for miles, and often during a terrible winter. Very similar to my little opening paragraph I did. After miles and miles of isolation, hunger, and desperation, the unfortunate soul comes across another person who could provide them with assistance. But before they can lead them to any form of shelter or heat, the weary hunter or person pounces upon them, tears them apart, feasting on their flesh. The blood-drunk hunter stumbles back into the cold to wander and seek more human flesh to consume. Every single instance of cannibalism they committed, the more and more their humanity was chipped away. So a lot of these tales, the Wendigos were all human once.
And then they turned into these blood-hungry,
Things.
misunderstood,
Beasts. Misunderstood?
lovable creatures.
Okay. Soon enough, the effects of their new diet start to become noticeable, but no matter how much flesh they consumed, it never, ever sated their hunger. The hunger pains were only quenched for a moment whilst they consumed their victims entirely. Their eyes began to glaze over, becoming pale and grey, almost like cataracts, and sinking deeper into the skull. Their body weight begins to fall away to the point of them looking completely emaciated, their desiccated skin turning to the colour of ash, and their skin stretching across every single one of their bones. In time, their teeth turn jagged and sharp, tearing the flesh away from around the mouth as they constantly gnaw their teeth. Always hungry. So yeah.
I'm a bit peckish.
Yeah, a bit peckish. The more and more they consume, the more dehumanized they become. With each new victim, the Wendigo's body height would grow. up to around 15 feet tall, and the limbs becoming more gangly, hanging by its side. Yeah, a peak Wendigo is like 15 feet tall.
Fucking hell.
Slender.
Slender daddy, yeah.
They
Slender
are
man.
big boys.
Slender man. Yeah. So
I think they're the
I
gag
think
daddy now.
I think honestly I'm more scared. I think Wendigo is one of like the one things in folklore that so far that I've discovered that scares me the most, because it's just horrible. Just absolutely
How tall
horrible.
is 15 foot? I can't picture it.
Well, I'm 6 foot, so
Right.
imagine another
All right, James,
one
I'm
of
not
me.
6 foot. Thank you for reminding me again.
So imagine another one of me on top of me, and then half of me on top of that.
You'd be like
Too much of you.
Too much James for one man.
The Wendigo wouldn't even fit through my door, so we're all right.
Mate, he would.
Yeah.
I don't think they walk standing
They
straight
do.
up. The more, you know, like I'd forgot how to crouch.
They're really good at
Just
limbo.
stay in your rooms, guys.
I should want to just going, oh, under your door, always in the house. So they grow up to 15 feet tall. That was like peak Wendigo size, and as they grew, their limbs just gangly hung by their side, just almost dragging across the floor in some cases, with their fingers and toenails becoming almost like blades, jagged, very painful blades. The quote-unquote giant Wendigo concept is prevalent in the folklore of the Ojibwe, Eastern Cree, West Main Swampy Cree, Nazcapi, and Innu peoples particularly. Now, I know I mentioned that earlier, but I'll mention it again. To make things worse, they began to emit a strong odour similar to that of a rotting corpse or of death and corruption. The Wendigo is truly a nightmarish walking corpse, maybe even more terrifying to me than a zombie. And you know zombies scare me, so...
What, zombies taking the second spot and Wendigos taking the
Yeah.
top spot?
That is for me, because I have zombie nightmares.
I'm going to Google
You know.
Wendigos.
Wait, don't.
Why?
Don't yet, because you'll get an image come up of what the Wendigo looks like, but I'm going to explain what
That's
they...
incorrect.
Luce, you've played Until Dawn, haven't you?
Yes.
Yes, see, though the creatures in that were Wendigos.
See, I was thinking about something like this.
Yeah, see, I bring it up
I can't
later,
remember the
but
creatures in it.
yeah, so obviously, Adam, we're a fan of Hannibal, and Will, the main character, Will Graham, starts to see Hannibal as a
Yeah.
Wendigo because he's a cannibal, and in that show, it's like a tall, black-skinned version of him with antlers. Now, the antlers, for some reason, has become a big part of what a Wendigo looks like in folklore, but actually, nothing to do with it. Nothing to do with it at all.
Does it look more like
Where-
the Until Dawn one?
Yeah, if you look at Until Dawn Wendigos, that is what they actually look like, and that is what scares me, because that is absolutely just a horrifying looking thing. It's just imagine the skinniest, tallest human you can with this, you know, just the thinnest, sharpest claws and teeth. Because the fact is you can still see a bit of human left in them is what makes it so disturbing, because it's like, okay, I could end up like that. If I'm not inside of one, I'm going to end up like one.
It looks like Nosferatu.
By inside, I mean cannibalized. Yeah, exactly.
I
Kind of
want to
Nosferatu
eat
vibes.
your flesh.
Whoa!
Whoa!
Correct, yeah. There are various descriptions of what abilities the Wendigo had, the most disturbing being mimicry. So just imagine, okay, close your eyes. Come on, let's go into your imagination and go to sleep. Yes. Imagine being in a deathly silent snow-covered wood, snowflakes gently falling.
Oh, that sounds nice.
And in the distance, you hear a pained voice calling out for help.
That doesn't sound so
A
nice.
voice screaming, and you go running towards it. You're going to save this person. And instead of coming across a person in need of assistance, a large gangrel creature steps out, and you find yourself being torn apart and munched on by a lanky nightmare. Lanky nightmare being one of Lewis's many nicknames.
The lanky nightmare.
No, it's not true.
I don't get it. I don't get it.
You never get anything! In some tales, the Wendigo is inhuman in appearance, but maintains its human powers of cognition, like learning and adapting, but also that of actual speech, luring and threatening its victims in a more human nature. Particular stories collected from the early 20th century said that the Wendigo even would make use of tools. To what extent remains to be seen. maybe to create traps, or potentially just to build its own shelter, or maybe just for murder.
Did you say
maybe a nice kitchen?
Did you say
maybe a nice kitchen set?
They held their cognitive responses and things like that?
In some stories, yeah. So they'd look like the absolute inhuman monsters, but they could still talk.
So they can learn.
Not all of
things
them.
as well.
Not all of them. In some stories, but
Does
in
that
some
mean they could be
interpretations, they can.
Wendigo sales reps?
They could keep the hunger in check, maybe.
I mean, yeah, they'd have to. But imagine them
Would
being...
you like to buy this car?
Exactly, a car salesman Wendigo. That's certainly drawing a crowd. There's
Well, Wendigo, I didn't trust you at first, but you're a great part of the team.
Thank you.
I love that guy.
What would you,
Mr. W. Endigo.
Oh,
What's
yeah.
the W stand for? His desk in a suit like...
Wayne. Wayne Endigo.
My name is
Looks at his badge.
Yeah. Hello.
Wayne.
My name is Wayne.
Endigo.
And you just look at his face and it's just this
Wayne Endigo.
absolutely desecrated fucking shitstorm of a face.
How may I help you today?
But he'd sell you a great fucking Subaru.
Is there much boot space?
Let me fit in for you.
15-foot
imagine
tall
the
guy
slaps
in
the
a real
roof of the car.
real ill-fitting suit, so his trousers end just above his knees because he's so tall.
Oh shit! Yeah, it'd be 15 foot, wouldn't
So
it?
yeah, no suit could fit that guy, I'm afraid.
He wouldn't even be able to fit in the car, would he?
No,
He wouldn't be able to go for
His
test drives.
legs and arms would be hanging out like.
He'd probably just sprint with you while you fucking went for a test drive.
As you can see, there's great response time in the wheels.
About next to the car. Wendigos can also survive partial dismemberment, and when particular Wendigos would go a long time without feeding, they would commit auto-cannibalism, aka cannibalism of the self.
I thought you were just going to say auto-cannibalism, a.k.a. cannibalism.
Well, yeah, it's true. But okay. Oh, yeah. I guess you're partially right. One side,
Self-cannibalize.
yeah. One upside to eating the flesh of other humans is that it gives the Wendigos super strength. Can you see why I'm so afraid of them? Because they just seem to there's not many downside apart from the constant hunger and becoming a monster. There doesn't seem many ways to escape them.
True.
So yeah, eating the flesh of others gives them super strength, which means a weakened Wendigo feasting would wreak more havoc on the corpse the more and more it ate. Being slashed at with supernaturally strengthened claws is a surefire way to cause some real nasty damage. Other tales describe abilities ranging from casting illusions, midnight summoning.
You could
Which,
summon midnight.
Yeah, basically just summon darkness, which is
Okay.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's quite
I think
quite
they
cool.
the time. They just time travel.
Yeah. What time is it? Oh, it's 5 to midnight.
It's
Wendigo-
midnight.
Wendigo's like just doing pointing at a clock, spinning his finger. Yes, yes, yes. So, yeah. Other powers include temperature control, animal control, and even airwalking. Airwalking is either that they could literally walk through the air, but it's also known as a way to control gusts of wind. Apparently some Wendigos would even leave burning footprints wherever they walk as well.
What can't they do?
Exactly. It's terrifying.
They're fucking greedy. That's what they are.
You guys are so greedy, you know that.
I need to kill him.
Like many creatures that dwell and flourish in the cold, dark places of the world, the one thing that can truly kill, or at least repel them, is good old fire. Apparently they aren't particularly fond of silver either, but the most permanent way to vanquish a Wendigo is to destroy its heart of ice. That depends on what kind of Wendigo you are facing. So yeah, fire. Fire.
What always makes me laugh is you have stories like this where they're like, oh, how do we kill it? It's like, yeah, fire. And you know also is quite good? Silver.
Silver.
Get some copper as well, might as well. Throw some pennies at it, it'll just burn. You always think,
Got a
why
quid, mate.
silver? Why? I don't understand.
Like silver bullet.
Yeah, but
Yeah,
why?
exactly.
I don't I'm sure a bullet would do the same as a silver bullet.
I think it goes back to maybe alchemy stuff as well.
Chemical compounds.
Yeah, because back in the day, obviously, with like alchemy and stuff, silver was used as a form of compound in certain rituals and potions and stuff. So there's probably certain qualities to it that make it good for killing. And does silver itself have any antibacterial qualities to it? Because maybe it's like a way of purging the evil. Purge the evil.
Well, we can just put it in some antibac spray or some.
Yeah. Antibac spray in its heart, you're good to go. But how did the Wendigo come to be known as such a visceral part of folklore? With most creatures or tales in folklore, it has a background in particular cultural beliefs. The concept of going Wendigo was seen as becoming the embodiment of gluttony, greed, and excess.
I've never heard the phrase,
He's going Wendigo! You ever see someone being greedy, be like, oh mate, you're going Wendigo.
Imagine absolutely annihilating some food and be like, I'm going Wendigo.
Well, from now on,
I'm so hungry I could go Wendigo.
Yeah.
Everyone in the room will look at you like you are a fucking idiot.
Yeah, and then in 10 years, when everyone's saying it, you'll be like, see, I pioneered that saying.
I fucking started that.
I went Wendigo first.
I went Wendigo first.
Satisfaction always eluded them. Humans who chose to follow a greedy lifestyle would be called Wendigo amongst tribes, not for murder or cannibalism, but just because they were being greedy pieces of shit. Amongst the North Algonquin cultures, committing cannibalism through desperation due to famine or another cause was a pretty serious taboo. Obviously, you know, that makes sense.
Don't do it.
Don't do it.
Don't do cannibalism.
Don't eat your mum! Some of the tribes chose suicide or acceptance of their demise over actually going Wendigo. The myth worked as a deterrent for some people to be better people, to promote cooperation and moderation in living overall. But ironically enough, these stories might actually represent the indigenous people's response to the horrific violence unleashed upon them by non-native people. Many anthropologists believe that the concept of a Wendigo only developed after the native people had contact with the white man.
I can't say it. I
AKA.
can't say it.
Fucking white people.
Yeah, well, you can technically say it because, you know.
That's
me.
I'm one of them.
But I'm white.
But I'm
Among
me.
this, among the Assiniboine, the Cree, and the Ojibwe people, a satirical ceremonial dance was originally performed during times of famine to reinforce the seriousness of the Wendigo taboo. The ceremonial dance, known as the Wendigo Zimowin.
So they had a satirical dance to
Yeah.
promote the seriousness of their situation.
Yeah, it was more like, don't go Wendigo.
We're all gonna die.
Don't go
Hey.
Wendigo. You dickhead. Don't go Wendigo.
But take it seriously, guys. Come on.
Yeah.
I can imagine at the end
end.
of that fucking like
Seriously,
festival.
it's not a
like,
joke.
Guys, I know we've had a lot of fun here today, but we're really in this shit.
Like a manager.
go Wendigo.
I know you guys had a great time at the Christmas party last weekend.
Don't
but
get
remember,
too
we're a
drunk,
team.
guys.
Don't get too drunk, guys, and make sure, 110% isn't enough.
We always do the Josh voice as well.
Always Josh voice.
Right,
The Josh
guys.
voice. So, guys, make sure that you stack those pallets 8 times high. If you get crushed, it's not my fault. Yeah, that's.
I reckon that's how
an
Wendigos
impression of-
laugh, you know.
In the darkness, you
Oh
hear.
my god, maybe Josh was a Wendigo.
You know what? He had some similarities.
He did.
There were some similarities.
Josh, if you're listening to this, fuck you.
Yeah, you just imagine you're in the middle of a cold wood, snowing. You hear like in the distance. You're like, and you hear, and you're like, where is it? Where is it? And then you just hear, and then it's game over. And it's game over.
I feel like that would be a nice little like mod of Slenderman or something. You just hear. Oh god.
So the ritual, the Wendigo Zimowin, was performed as part of the last day activities of the sun dance, involving wearing a mask and dancing about with a drum backwards. The last known Wendigo ceremony conducted in the United States was at Lake Wendigo of Star Island in Cass Lake, northern Minnesota.
Marvels, mysteries, and
Midlanders? Now, I know you guys enjoy jesting that my stories don't exist and aren't real.
Yes, we love that too.
And I'd like to combat your bullshit
Okay.
with the tale of Swift Runner from the start. And now another real-life fact, in this case, a psychiatric disorder known as Wendigo Psychosis.
I'm going to Google this, hold on.
I'm about to explain what it is.
Wendigo Psychosis.
You're not going to get any better information than what I've got. I've researched it. I don't understand.
I'm questioning your research.
Wendigo psychosis is simply a condition where the sufferer develops an insatiable need to feast on the flesh of other humans, even when other food is available.
So if you put a burger next to him,
They'd be like, wanna eat human still?
Yeah.
If you say to them, but that burger's human, they'll be like, oh, okay. Put an apple there. That apple's made of human flesh. Oh, okay.
Cured.
Where do they stand on horse meat?
I'm not sure. But I think Tesco's were about back in the 1800s.
Well, you never know.
A journal from 1661 described, those poor men were seized with an ailment unknown to us, but not very unusual among the people we were seeking. They are afflicted with neither lunacy, hypochondria, nor frenzy, but have a combination of all these types of disease, which affects their imaginations and causes them more than simple canine hunger. Swift Runner may very well have been a victim of Wendigo psychosis. Although, in many recorded cases of Wendigo psychosis, the individual has been killed. The individual has been killed to prevent cannibalism from happening. Some Cree folklore recommends treatment by ingestion of fatty animal meats or drinking animal grease. Those treated may sometimes vomit ice as part of the curing process.
Vomit ice?
Vomit ice. I'm guessing it's to do with the heart of ice dealio. When someone generally recognized the symptoms that they were turning into a Wendigo, they often requested to be executed before they could harm any others. In the unusual cases where these treatments didn't work, the Wendigo inside began either to threaten those around them or to act violently or antisocially. Then they were likely to get executed anyway. Basically, you're getting killed either way.
I don't think that's a very good deal.
Imagine if like one of the forms of treatment was just,
Death.
someone yelling at you, stop being greedy. Stop it. Be better.
Stop being a greedy chops.
A closer look showed more problems with the so-called psychosis. Anthropologists pointed out that people who were said to be Wendigos generally suffered from all kinds of mental problems anyway, and that the term was a catch-all phrase for any mental issue at the time. Early anthropologists had assumed that everyone to whom the phrase was applied suffered from the same psychosis, and so assumed that it was widespread. When cannibalism figured in a crime, people assumed that it had to be because of the cultural psychosis, rather than being an aspect of violent crime that can happen anywhere, and for many different reasons. Cases of Wendigo psychosis began to actually decline massively in the early years of the 20th century, as the Algonquin people made contact more and more with Western ideologies, and began leading less rural lifestyles. The debate over the actual existence of Wendigo psychosis remains, but what sends a normal individual down the path of wanting and needing to feast on human flesh, even outside times of famine? It may very well be intertwined with the tribe's values themselves, how to compose yourself as a person, but the true stories of the Wendigo still stand firm in history.
So, what it is that you want to eat human flesh.
Yeah, no matter, it's an insatiable craving and hunger for human flesh.
Yeah, but people were misdiagnosed.
Yeah, what was happening was crimes with cannibalism involved, people with general mental health issues. Maybe someone had some sort of attack where they bit someone, and all of it was like, he's a Wendigo. He's going Wendigo him. He's going Wendigo.
Yeah. You'd think that would be like super easy to identify if they've got it.
Yeah.
Do you want to eat anyone? No.
No. He's not a Wendigo, mate.
Wendigo.
But yeah, I think it's interesting though that the cases lowered as cultures kind of clashed. I wonder what it was that actually drowned it out. Obviously, less rural lifestyles, but it seems like what would replace that? Because obviously it was like a metaphor for greed. What would replace that overall?
Anxiety.
The anxiety.
Everyone just got social anxiety and they were too scared to eat people then.
Yeah, that's what it was.
What if he doesn't like me?
What if I'm wrong? Yeah, I probably am.
What if I bite wrong?
That's how the Wendigo was defeated, thanks to
social anxiety.
Thanks to social anxiety. So we're nearly at the end now, guys, but we've got one more story, real life story regarding the Wendigo. Are you ready for it? Are you ready?
My
Do you want
body
it?
is
Do you
ready.
want it?
Do you want it? Do you?
No, I don't want it. So we spoke about Swift Runner, a real-life Wendigo. We spoke about what the Wendigo is and where it may have come from. But now, who hunts the Wendigo? Who performs these so-called healing rituals? Well, meet Jack Fiddler, born Zawuno Gizhigo Galbo, meaning he who stands in the southern sky.
Is he called Gak?
Zawuno Gizhigo Galbo, also known as he who stands in the sky or Jack Fiddler.
Oh, I thought you said Gak Fiddler.
That's 2 fiddlers in a row. I swear on our last episode we had a fiddler as well.
We did. We did have a fiddler, yeah.
Jack was born between 1830 and 1840 into his adoptive clan known as the Suckers. Suckers!
So he is called Jack Sucker.
No,
Jack
Fiddler.
Sucker.
Oh, okay.
Jack
sorry.
Sucker,
So
mate.
it's the
No, it's
Suckers?
Jack Fiddler. Jack Fiddler. He was, the clan was the
Oh,
Suckers.
okay.
Lewis, thank you for correcting him.
Jack Fiddler of the Sucker tribe.
Yes, there we go. Who were based in the upper lakes of Ontario in the Boreal Forest. His father joined them many, many years earlier, and Jack would very much follow his father's footsteps. His dad, known as Porcupine standing sideways, was an elusive and powerful figure. I love the Native American
I was
names.
just thinking.
They're so good. They're such. But I'd love to know how they come up with them. I'd like to know what my Native American name would be if I was
It's
worthy
literally
of one.
like the most basic thing you can describe something as. Yours would be
Light shines dimly or something like that. wouldn't it? Right now.
literally.
Light shines dimly.
Yours would be something like half-dressed man.
That's just a description.
Your man that dresses halfly.
What would yours be then?
Mine would be
Muscle flexes tightly.
no. Mine would be nostril runs
Swiftly.
nightly.
Night? Oh, God. What about Lewis? Lewis would be beard grows smoothly.
Yeah.
Or
Beard,
yeah,
beard
that's all
with
I've
no
got.
name.
Beard with no name, yeah. By adulthood, Jack was now a leader amongst the Sucker people, having gone through hard times due to overfarming of local furs, causing a local economic nightmare. A perfect environment for a Wendigo rumour to appear. Nice little factoid about Jack. He had 5 wives and 13 children.
Fucking hell.
Check out
Jack.
Mr. Big Balls over here!
Jack needs to keep it in his fucking pants, man.
And Jack ain't got time for that, man. He's the big deal. He's the real
He's
deal.
too busy
Big-
fucking.
In
How
time,
did he get
Jack...
his name?
What, Jack Fiddler? I don't know, that's a good point. Like, I know his real name, his Native American name, but I don't know how he got Fiddler.
Man that fiddles too
Maybe-
much.
Yeah, maybe he was always grabbing the ladies, and they were like, Jack Fiddler. And that was it. It's that easy to come up with names back in the old days. In time, Jack, along with his brother, Pesequan, known as Joseph, began to build a reputation of having a particular set of skills in the Boreal Forest. In this case, it was dealing with the old Wendigo. They kind of built a reputation like the Ghostbusters almost. People would contact them when they had concerns, and they'd go from tribe to tribe sometimes, seeing if there was any evil in their midst. That's what it was all about.
Who are you going to call?
Jack Fiddler! I ain't afraid of no
Wendigo?
But imagine it's done with like traditional, like Native American instruments, maybe some pipes. Wendigo hunters! Yeah. Their final kill count ranged from between 14 to 17 Wendigos purged and killed from their hosts. And yes, the hosts died as well.
Oh.
So they technically killed 14 to 17 people. Technically. I mean, they were saving them, obviously. It's not that easy. Do you think that they just kept killing people accidentally?
Yeah,
Eventually
I was
they were
gonna
like,
say.
yeah, that's what's supposed to happen, yeah.
A great day's work, guys. We really
Good
killed
job.
those people. Wendigos. We really killed those Wendigos.
Don't tell my father about this. You have to remember, though, that the First Nations peoples, the Cree, lived under their own law. They were completely oblivious to how the white man dealt with murder. I don't know why, I just love the term the white man as well.
The white man.
It's a good term. Then, I'll say it's good. I mean, it wasn't to them, obviously, because, the white man caused a lot of trouble, but yeah. Moving on. Finally, in 1907, the rumours of this roving Wendigo killing duo made itself back to white civilization. At this point, Jack himself was nearly 80 years old, but this did not slow him down from killing Wendigos, nor did it stop the Mounties from hunting him down.
He has an ironically bloodthirsty appetite for killing Wendigos.
Gotta kill him, mate. Gotta purge him.
Just like the Wendigos themselves. Jack is a Wendigo. Confirmed.
Yeah, that's the twist at the end.
Sorted, James. Next episode.
We're almost there, fellas. We're almost there. Whilst following the scent of the Wendigo slayers, the Mounties learned about Wasakapique, a woman who had allegedly been possessed by a Wendigo. She was given her quote-unquote treatment by the duo, and she was ultimately choked to death with a piece of string.
A piece of string?
I don't know how that works. I mean, maybe it's just really sturdy string. You pull it tight enough. Lewis, could you try and maybe choke yourself with your headphones?
Yeah, I reckon it's
could do it.
Yeah.
Like a garrote. Garrote?
A garrote, yeah.
Garrote. I don't know.
Super hands, do not garrote him.
Do my laces up, guys. Fucking hell.
It turned out her father-in-law was in fact Joseph and his brother Jack Fiddler. So yeah, she was related to them.
What?
The Mounties soon, yeah, she's related.
Well.
Her father-in-law was Jack's brother. The Mounties soon found them both and charged them with murder. After 15 weeks in captivity, Jack slipped away from the police in Norway House, Manitoba on September 1907. Once free, he ran off to a secluded spot, fashioned a slipknot in his sash, and hung it from a tree, and within minutes, the famed Wendigo killer was dead. Typically, when the case was reported in the newspapers at the time, the immediate cause was supposedly devil worship among the Cree peoples. Remember, if you don't understand it, it's devil worship.
True.
Remember that. His brother too was sentenced with murder and was hung. Though the establishment had no mercy for Jack and Joseph, other Euro-Canadians came to their defence at the time. A petition signed by prominent whites familiar with Sandy Lake and its indigenous people stated that the Pesequans' actions were the opposite of murder. They further reinforced the Cree belief system, saying that they were acts of mercy that prevented a person from being a roving spiritual cannibal who was never allowed to reach the happy hunting ground. So that's the tale of Jack Fiddler.
Were they killing other Cree people?
Other tribes. They're going to tribe saying, listen, we're Wendigo
You're
hunters.
a fucking Wendigo, mate.
And
Yeah,
then
and
they
then they were doing the quote-unquote rituals and just ended with them dying each time.
Right.
So, one last little bit. Wendigo in pop culture. So have either of you ever seen the Wendigo before in something? Or do you remember maybe?
Yeah, before I Googled imaged it, I had an idea in my head.
Until Dawn, I've seen it in
Yeah.
I think I mentioned that, but okay. Right, you, Adam.
Yeah, I've seen it Until Dawn, but there's a series called Over the Garden Wall. You know this.
I do. Fantastic animated series.
The creature, the beast. He kind of looks like a Wendigo, but with the antlers and stuff.
Yeah. But is he?
But he's probably not,
man.
though. But that's the first thing that comes to my head when someone says Wendigo.
The design for Wendigo is used a lot, but these days it is mainly that antler look that I've mentioned. Now, like a lot of popular folklore stories, they have been adapted for the page, screen, and beyond. But with this new life for the legend comes many misinterpretations. The Wendigo made its first appearance in horror fiction in Algernon Blackwood's, which is a brilliant name, novella The Wendigo from 1910, and then further forward in 1983 in Stephen King's Pet Sematary, and The Curse of the Wendigo by Rick Yancey in 2010. You can also spot the Wendigos in the TV series Supernatural, Hannibal, as we mentioned earlier, Grimm, and many others. Obviously, I chose this topic this week because of the release of Antlers, which will be out in cinemas maybe 2 days after this is released, or 2 days before, which is based on a short story called The Quiet Boy, which is, I've never read it yet, but I'm going to.
I'm Googling.
And it's, the film itself, Antlers, looks very, very cool. Quickly going back to Until Dawn as well, they actually, because obviously I really like the way they designed the Wendigos in it, because it's kind of the quote-unquote traditional version, which I like. They also actually mention Jack Fiddler's in the game. A character's called Jack Fiddler.
Is he?
And even and even Blackwood Mountains in it, which is obviously named after the Algernon Blackwood I mentioned earlier. Nice little reference. But as I've said earlier, you know, emaciated, stretched out nightmare humanoid is now being replaced with a lot more animalistic features. The most popular being deer antlers and a deer skull. These features can even stretch out to that of a skeletal deer instead of a human, a bear, a vampire, yeti, werewolf, or some kind of combination of those. Other interpretations show them being covered in fur, though this is likely to represent that they have adapted to the cold habitat they inhabit. Some researchers also believe that the rabid side of the commercial Wendigo is merely animalistic and a far cry away from what we've spoken about today, such as greed and selfishness. Simplification of a legendary figure can easily happen, especially when adapted for a widespread audience. General tales of the Wendigo do not end with its prey escaping. No happy endings, because the Wendigo has so much power that its spirit decimates all in its path. But finally, is the Wendigo still out there?
There's more than one, isn't there?
Well, okay. Are the Wendigos still out there? Thank you, Lewis. The vast majority of supposed Wendigo sightings happened between the 1800s and 1920s. Few reports of the creature have surfaced since then, but every so often an alleged sighting emerges, most recently in 2019, when mysterious howls in the Canadian wilderness led some to question whether they were caused by the infamous man-beast. One hiker who was present said, "I've heard many different animals in the wild, but nothing like this." I think overall, the whole story, you could say that the Wendigo itself is a creature spawned by morals. So that is the Wendigo. There's probably a lot more I missed, but yeah, that is the overall gist, you know. Real life Wendigo, folklore Wendigo, pop culture Wendigo.
We hit all the marks.
Yeah, we hit it all. We hit it all. What's your thoughts on it overall? Because, you know, it's quite a big, juicy topic. It's a big one. So I'd like to know your opinions on it.
To be like a creature, but I think I believe more the kind of like spirit of the Wendigo rather than, you know, beasts being out there waiting to kill people.
The spirit of the Wendigo, yeah, I think it's definitely a more, in terms of the realist point of view, much more believable. Because I feel like if the creature itself, the Wendigo, existed out there, or we would have known about it by now.
Yeah. I still like the idea of Wayne Endigo being a car salesman.
Did you have a nice weekend, Ryan?
Have a nice weekend.
Yeah, Wayne, it was great. What did you do?
I just hung around.
Really getting into that
it.
voice, aren't you?
I think it's a shame that it's been adapted. There's been no consensus on what it should look like. And, you know, they've like kind of stole the name, haven't they? Because it's a cool sounding name.
Yeah, they've took the name.
And they've made up their own monster and slapped Wendigo on it.
They've kept the cannibalism side to it. Because that is like the two things you think of in terms of pop culture is Wendigo, cannibalism, and now Wendigo, cannibalism, antlers. You know, like even though the film Antlers is going to be about the Wendigo with antlers, it still looks very cool, but it's still kind of fueling that kind of misconception of what it actually looks like. But I guess that happens a lot though, isn't it? Because like I said, it's a way to make it appeal to a widespread audience. Yeah,
it's different, isn't it? I think.
Yeah.
Well, that's a zombie. It's a zombie if it just eats people. It's a zombie.
Yeah. Yeah. It's just a tall zombie with sharp teeth.
So if you put antlers on it, put antlers on a zombie.
What the hell is that?
Can you imagine being in that marketing room and just thought, how can we get away from the zombie vibe? And then someone just went, antlers. And everyone just started.
Simmons, you're a genius.
Yeah.
Let's get to the strip club, boys. Work's done today.
Yeah. I think that's a very good point. But yeah, I think, obviously, so Adam, you've done a fair few episodes with us now. Lewis, you've done all of the episodes. Yeah. What out of all the things we've discussed, what would you say is the one that disturbs you? Disturbs you the most? Because Adam, you've not been on as many episodes as us, me and Lewis, so you've kind of missed out on a few of them.
I'd probably say probably the Virginia Bunny Man, you know.
Oh, you and that guy, man. You'll never go.
I love him.
Because I think it's like,
I'll always love you, Adam.
Oh, God. I think it's the most real to me because it is literally like
real
a downward spiral into like mental illness, in my opinion. And that's what's scary about it. Like, you can spiral and spiral and spiral, and then boom, all of a sudden, you're under a bridge and you're in a bunny outfit. talking to other bunnies, eating the bunnies. And
Because you can joke about, oh, it's just a madman in a bunny suit, but it's kind of like if you go into the real psychological side of it, it's like,
it's sad.
what drove him to be
Very sad.
this?
What was that? Carcassonne. What was
Carcassonne?
the turtle?
Oh, the Tarrasque?
The Tarrasque.
That scares you the most?
Yeah.
Why? I'm still not over that story, Mayad. I'm not over it. I'm not over that story.
I didn't understand the, like the not knowing what it's all about.
What's it all about? It just is, mate, isn't it? Oh, okay. Yeah. That's it.
Actually,
Cool.
I think my scary story was the Lewis telling me that fish fart under the water. I'm never going in the sea again.
Some knowledge shouldn't exist. But yeah, overall, guys, parting words for the Wendigo Tale. What are your thoughts? What are your thoughts?
If you ever need a car, come see Wayne Endigo. He will get you a really good deal. He'll slap the roof of the car. You'll probably dent it, to be fair, but you'll get a few quid off. You'll get a few quid off.
Sorry.
Yeah.
I reckon that what was his name? Running
Swift Runner.
Swift Runner.
Running Swift Runner.
Yeah.
Father of Fast, Too Fast, and Way Too Fast.
And Nike.
He should have said
And
to his
Reebok.
missus, "Wake me up before I Wendigo go."
That's yeah.
Wake me up.
I like this entire episode, Lewis. You've had the entire episode, and it's all culminated to that one song lyric. Absolutely brilliant.
It's all funneled down to this moment.
I'll tell you what my come away is. Don't be greedy. Don't be greedy. Don't be an asshole either. Unless you need to be. As in, you've been driven to be an asshole by greedy people, but not to the wrong people. Don't go Wendigo. Okay?
Basically, be an asshole, don't be an asshole, we don't care.
Be an asshole to the right people. Yeah. Morals of the day. Don't go about being an asshole to everyone. You'll end up miserable. Be an asshole to the assholes because they... Yeah.
But if you're an asshole, be an asshole to yourself.
Yeah. Look in the mirror and say...
You're an asshole.
You're an asshole.
You
know what?
fucking hate you.
We are all assholes. And you know what? Maybe that's just how it's meant to be. Good night, everyone. And thank you for listening. But yeah, thank you so much, everyone, for listening. And thank you to you, Adam, and to you, Lewis, for
You're welcome.
your ears, as always. I hope you feel a little educated about Wendigo. Prepare for your pop quiz next week. I'll be asking a lot of questions.
Or study hard.
Yes, study hard. But thank you so much to both of you for listening, and to all of you lovely listeners for listening. Do hope you enjoyed it and you're enjoying our spooky season content, Halloween 2021. So yeah, if you want to get in contact with us, you want to email us anything, or just, fancy a chat, yeah, please chat with me. Email us at marvels.mysteries@gmail.com. You can also find us on Instagram at Midlanders or Midlanders. It's that easy. And also, if you are enjoying the podcast and you want to leave a nice review, feel free to leave it on Apple Podcasts, because that seems to be the only place you can do it so far. So yeah, we'd love to see what you think. If it's negative, it won't bother me. I swear. So yeah, have a great week, everyone. Thank you again, and take care. Speak to you soon. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye. Bye. Bye. Bye. Bye. Bye. Bye. Bye.
Ooga booga booga boo.